Anyway, too many things to do, I'm telling you. And they call me this retirement.
You got one right over here.
You got 1 minute to pop your head up from under the table, Jared.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Since it's 4 o'clock, I'll call the Joint Planning Commission and Moratorium Committee meeting to order. If, Ben,
This moratorium committee meeting is called to order.
would you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is approving the agenda. Kyle or Casey, any additions or subtractions?
No, sir.
If there are none, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is approval of the minutes from August 7th, 2025. Any changes or additions, subtractions? Then I'd look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from August 7th, 2025 meeting.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm sorry, I was flipping through papers. I approve as well. I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Next item on the agenda is new business, best school report. Would you like to speak to this, sir?
Sure, I thought I was under citizen comment, but I can if you invited me to.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, do we have citizens' comments before? Not in best.
Yeah.
Oh, not
for this one.
Okay.
Actually, have a copy of it in case you don't have it
Oh, I
already.
got one.
As a courtesy.
I'll keep the second one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Discounted.
That's okay. I've got one.
I think
Okay.
four
Okay.
through the week. Yeah.
Thank you, Jared. You get to have it, Jared.
Well, we could read it, but since you're here, you might as well present
No,
it.
absolutely. I'm Dr. Jeff Tanis. I serve as the superintendent of Comstock Public Schools. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to present. I wasn't expecting that. I was prepared to call the audience, but that's fine too. I just wanted to represent officially the school district, and the school board is delegated to me by Pamela Dickinson. She's official representative of the school board. As the superintendent, I officially represent the district. I wanted to bring forth to you the decision of our board just this past Monday night after commissioning a study, which I just handed to you, from Glenn Keats. He is an engineer out of CTC Engineering in Ann Arbor. We previously contracted with him to do a study near our STEM Academy. There is the Jaguar substation. There was concern after our construction began that there would be a heavy electromagnetic field from that location. And they conducted a study that found that there was no danger. The field was very weak and the school was too far away. So all of the concern that we had heard about and within the board resolve the issue. We weren't going to try to figure it out ourselves or rely on internet sources or those kinds of informational conduits. So when it came to our attention that there was going to be the BESS, the Battery Energy Storage System site near the district, we initially went about our business as normal. It was something that wasn't involving us directly. It was a county or a township decision with the school board, with the state, excuse me. And as people became more, I guess, acquainted with the issue, they brought it to our attention through our call to audience at our board meetings. And we had, again, the same process kind of repeated. People quoting internet or people who were not really reliable sources of information like a trained engineer. So we decided to go back to our playbook of going to CTC Engineering for a neutral third party. And I announced as superintendent that this was not an area of even knowledge of mine. So I'm not coming to you as knowledgeable about battery systems. I'm coming to you to present formally to you the results of that study that we commissioned to help us decide what to do as a district. The study came back, and as the system is the most modern or safe that you could design, apparently, for a battery energy storage system, but that the proximity to the school is too much of a danger in terms of this engineer's opinion. That if it were further away, even he said, I think quoted, if it were a mile away, he wouldn't have any objection. Now, someone a mile down the road might have the same concern, but as a school system, we are taking the official position in opposition to the BESS, and we urge the Township Council and the Planning Commission, I think this also joint for that, that you would support us in prioritizing the safety of the students and the investment the community has. $32 million in bonds placed into that building. Just across the woods at the elementary school, recently bonds, about $18 million in bond work done at our Comstock Elementary. Formerly it was NEMS, Northeast Middle School. I did see you had my summation of my notes too from the engineer as well. I had a copy of that for you. But that reiterates that before I presented this information to the board, I met with him virtually to make sure that I understood everything that was in the report. So those are the notes that I typed up from that meeting as well. So he raised issues that I hadn't considered and that I want to convey to you as a commission, that no human design system is ever safe. It's just all relatively safe. How much risk are you willing to take? And then he threw in some issues that I hadn't considered. What about vandalism? And then what about eco-terrorism? Someone might actually target this facility and how that might damage it. So there was a lot more to it than I realized, even though his report is relatively short, only 5 pages. It was concise and informative enough that when presented to the school board, they voted unanimously to support the recommendation and oppose the BESS. I want to make sure that you were aware of that formally from me as the superintendent. Didn't know if anybody had any questions.
Could you read us that letter, the minutes?
Sure. August 7th, 2025, minutes from meeting with Glenn Keats of CTC Engineering. At 3 p.m. on Thursday, August 7th, 2025, I met with Glenn Keats of CTC Engineering located in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The purpose of this meeting was to review his firm's district commissioned risk analysis report on the proposed 400 megawatt battery energy storage system, or BESS. The report is succinct, only 5 pages, and he provided it to me before the meeting, leading to a brief discussion. The proposed site of the BESS is located adjacent to the STEM Academy construction site at 7641 East Main Street, Kalamazoo, Michigan, 49048. Mr. Keats noted that the proposed project was the best designed BESS he'd ever seen. However, in his opinion, it is too close to the school currently under construction. Given the nature of the proposed project design, if something were to go wrong, the incident should be contained. However, if the incident were not contained, it would become a big problem. Mr. Keats mentioned tornadoes, lightning, vandalism, and eco-terrorism as major concerns or threats to the BESS. He also noted or stated that he supports BESS as a source of alternative energy. If the proposed site were, quote, 1 mile down the road, end quote, he'd have no issue with the project. The large amount of contained energy was the source of his concern. If there is an issue with the Jaguar substation, it can be addressed quickly by shutting down the power to the facility. However, there is no such option for a BESS. Given Mr. Keats' clear and definitive report, I urge the board, that was my board, to take the official position opposing the construction of the BESS and notify local township officials of that decision. So they then delegated to me to communicate that to you. So that was the letter.
Any questions?
As far as the total investment in the district that it has in the community, what would that figure be?
Total, you're talking about all the buildings or just the ones nearby, or what do you mean
Both.
by? Okay, so the site construction isn't done yet, but it's $32 million. That is the estimated cost with contingency. The middle school, the recent investment was 18, but if you count the existing building that was already there, maybe 20 to 25 for that. We have now expanded to your old environs. We own the former township office. We own the high school, the middle school, the campus, and Sela, which used to be Green Meadow. So there are about, I think, 7 buildings total, ballparking it, close to 150 to 200 million. Sorry, but that's guesswork. Could be more.
Yes.
And then I just have one question as far as Sela. What's the capacity in the attendance of that?
Sela is our early childhood program. That's CELA, Comstock Early Learning Academy. It's the former Green Meadow Elementary School. That contains our, I'm going to use some acronyms here, but I'll tell you what they are. GSRP, which is Great Start Readiness Program. That's the state program for children. It also contains sections of Head Start, which is the federal support for early childhood programming. That building, I think they were only 2 empty rooms. So out of 17 classrooms, there are, I think, 15 that are used currently with students in them. Did I answer your question?
And approximately how many students in total?
There are maximum of 16 per section. So if you did 16 times 16,
Gives us an idea. Thank you.
yeah, 200 some students.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a CIP email in your packet.
Did anybody have any comments, questions about the report? Any insight, input?
No.
Then I did, I had a question for the board. And I just didn't want to assume, but
Okay.
I did speak with Glenn. He emphasized to me that, and an important part is that a substation is essentially a switch yard. That's what he referred to it as. But a battery energy storage is generation. And he really emphasized when he spoke to me about a generation station and how powerful that is and how difficult that could be to contain. He emphasized 400 megawatts is a lot of power. And something that we hadn't talked about, and I made a note for our workshop, is the terrorism part never came about in conversations of ours, so I think that was all important stuff to notice. He did offer his services if the board wanted to seek approval of a formal presentation, to hear it directly from him, to answer any questions that he may have, and that would be an expenditure of $1,250. And so I would seek that we would have to find the proper channels for approval if that were something that the board wanted to do.
Bob? I read the findings. I knew what they were. I said they were one man's opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but every one of the issues that he mentioned, eco-terrorism, vandalism, lightning, tornadoes, those are all acts of God. Those are not something that is gonna occur every day or often, or if at all. I mean, we could have terrorism, you could have an active shooter going to school. Tornado could come down, hit NEMS, bounce off, hit the new school, bounce off, go right over to the battery company and land on my house. We don't know this. We have no clue with this. Same with lightning and the vandalism, more schools get vandalized internally and football fields destroyed, people driving on them and everything else. And what I think the chances of vandalism in a schoolyard is more than what it would be in the best system. And that's just my opinion. Greg?
I certainly respect what this guy did and what he wrote, and I think we have quite an investment in the new school going on there. So we just need to take our time and look at this.
Joe?
I think the report makes it clear that we should make every effort to have a best located in an area that's appropriate and doesn't pose a problem that buildings that need evacuation.
James?
I read through the report. I was really shocked to read how this is engineered and all the safety protocols that goes into this best system and how this prevents different hazards if something happened, how it was shut down. And it was very informative to me. Thank you.
Sandy?
First off, I'd like to thank the school for taking the bull by the horns and having this done. As an engineer, I would not put what he said aside, and I would take it seriously. And I still am in agreement with most of the people on this board that I think we need to pay attention to where this goes and not have it in populated areas.
Jerry?
I was a safety manager at Intercal for 18 years, and this type of report is correct in what he did. As an engineer, I did many safety audits, and I believe in this audit. We didn't mention terrorism ever in our thoughts and our things that we brought up. I think we need to really take a good look at what we're talking about, because I've been against this being this close to the school in the first place, so I think he's online. Thank you.
Ben?
I respect the district to take a third-party stance and not go off into the weeds, making assumptions and do the proper research. I think that $50 million in proximity to that for an investment that the community is behind, that's something to take into consideration, as well as we do have a map that outlines, that we'll go through during the workshop, that outlines the districts and the schools and buffers, and a total investment of perhaps even $150 to $200 million. I think that they're a large stakeholder in the community. They're a board that we should have dialogue with. It says it right in our master plan, and I think that we should respect and definitely have the conversation of their report, which we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Then I guess we'll move on to CIP.
Yes.
Email.
I can take this away.
You want to talk to that?
Yes. So I received this email before our last moratorium committee meeting, and this was that Wednesday before, that Thursday. And so I figured wait, let me backtrack. So I received this email, and so part of this email that she says is she would like us to avoid limiting viable options too early. However, we had a meeting already scheduled that Thursday, so I figured it wasn't prudent to share, as we were still moving forward with our decisions and our processes. So then this eventually was passed on to the Township Board later that week, and Supervisor Martin requested it be placed into this agenda. I believe I also emailed it to all the Planning Commission members. I then met with CIP late or early last week. That is how, when we discussed where we're at in the process, they decided it would be useful to talk to you all instead of writing another email, so we can have that forward and back and forth conversation.
Thank you. Okay. At this point, I guess we're in the best ordinance workshop. So, Ben, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I would circle back to, I guess what we've all been talking about is workable. And it appears that as we've been working on this, that the developer is evaluating alternative sites and configurations. So in a sense of keeping options on the table and somebody interested to do business here, this email shows clearly that although we've been working and time has been passed, that they're still interested to maybe explore different alternative sites. I'm sure they're more than aware of the school report. And then I took a look at the minutes from the meeting between the Comstock Public Schools Superintendent, and then also took a look at Assembly Bill 303 that was introduced in California. And I'll give a copy, Jerry, if you want to pass those down. So just from some third-party professional perspective, as a spot to start, I know that we've been talking about zoning districts, we've been talking about setbacks, and being that it's one of the first professional evaluations, third-party, that I've personally seen, and unless there's one that I've missed, is that there's 5,280 feet in a mile, and at a 400 megawatt system, from if an engineer would feel good, that's a setback of 13.2 feet per megawatt. And I think that could be a starting point. And so if somebody wanted a 500-foot setback, perhaps the scope and the size of the project would determine that. And that's one thing I noticed about the previous ordinance, was it didn't have a cap. And so I think that that's...
What do you mean by a cap?
A size up to, there was no definitive, you could be a 1,000 megawatt system. So if there was a 500-foot setback for a 1,000 megawatt system. So I was just thinking, from a professional standpoint, some recommendations, whether you take it for a grain of salt or what it is, it was a starting point with some numbers to start pointing us in a direction of how to think about it. In a business application, in the zoning, it mentions 25 feet per megawatt. So if a large brewery were to have their own battery energy storage system or landscape forms or something like that, maybe if it were even 1 or 2 megawatts, I believe in our ordinance it says 25 feet. And so 13.2, it was just, how do you get some numbers from somewhere to start pulling this together? And then in the Assembly Bill 303, it mentions environmentally sensitive sites. And those would be public nature preserves, lakes and streams, and designated wetlands. Sensitive receptor sites are a residence, including a private home, condominium, apartment, or a living quarter. An educational resource, including a preschool, a school maintaining transitional kindergarten, or any grades 1 through 12, daycare center, park, playground, university, or college, a community resource center, including a youth center, a healthcare facility, including a hospital, retirement home, or nursing home, live-in housing, including a long-term care hospital, hospice, prison, detention center, or a dormitory. And then the last one was a building housing a business that is open to the public. And so I know that in our community, we've heard comments from residences in just regards to just schools. Mm-hmm. But this is just an idea that I got from 303 of all of those things that we would want to be cognizant of. And then as well as I think what would be really helpful in evaluating this would also be to refer to this map with the schools in the map. And then when we talk about overlay districts and things like that, possibly identify from the information that we have where other than maybe light manufacturing and manufacturing could this possibly go. And I think number 7 on that map, I believe number 7 is the Early Learning Center. So would that be SELA then?
Yes, it is.
So, and as you can see, 1, 2, a lot of them, they're overlapping. In our community, I believe a 6 by 6. So if you have a recommendation for a mile from a school, that's a mile north, east, west, and south. So I thought that this map would give us a visual.
In our packet, there's a map that actually shows where the overlay would be.
There's a proposed overlay area, and
It's
way down on the
page
southern edge.
56, I believe, in your packet.
Yep, and just correlating this map and that other one that would be our southeast quadrant of the township, was
Right.
what was mentioned at the last one. And I think, seeing where number 7 lines up in that area.
It would take out a portion of it, but the overlay area is still appropriate. Yeah. Yes, 7 would be in the proposed overlay area, and it would take out a corner of it. But most of the area would still be available.
Jerry, any comments?
No, I don't have any, thank you.
Sandy?
Thanks for giving us just a starting point there, Ben. And since you did take it from the engineer from the school, I think that was pretty wise.
That's mine. Oh, no, it's not. James?
No comment.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that is necessary, but I'm hoping that we can get to the point here really quickly where we have a firm proposal and can solidify this and hold the public hearing and get this done. We've been talking about it enough. I'm hoping that we can finalize it and make something that we can recommend to the township board.
Greg?
Nothing.
Bob?
There's no place on this map.
Microphone?
There's no place on this map where you could put it anywhere within a mile of any school. You didn't have the land. Even our heavy manufacturing down here at the Murray property that they looked at one time, the old Consumers, that's within a mile of a school. So I don't see where you're gonna put it in. We got 36 square miles in Comstock. I don't know where you're gonna find a mile from anything, especially anything that is on this list. I mean, they're all important places, but where are you gonna put it within a mile of anywhere? This overlay district? Who owns the overlay district? Does Midlink own most of that?
I don't know.
If you look at the map?
If I can, Mr. Chair. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit just to remind us of the updates we did last meeting, which was 3 weeks ago. There's only really a few main updates. One is I added a number 4 on what page is this? Page 33 of your packet, page 2 of our ordinance. You can see that where we separated a light manufacturing versus the overlay. The consensus for last meeting was that we would lower the manufacturing or industrial setback to the state minimum. So as you can see here, it was 300 feet. I believe that was what we all agreed upon. If not, we can discuss that and take it back to 500. And then another table was created for the battery energy storage overlay zoning district. As you can see, I have XXXX there. We did not decide on a foot setback or how we would go from that for the overlay district. And the other item is Mr. Martin mentioned potential sensitive areas. That list he stated earlier. Last meeting, Commissioner Lawrence also rattled off some like nursing homes and daycares and schools and hospitals. So I think that if we want to explore and make a list of what those sensitive areas are, that can also go into our definition. So I think that's two good places to start: setback for the overlay and maybe a list of sensitive areas.
Perfect.
Do we want to talk if we even want to do an overlay? Or do we decide we do? Tracy's going to correct.
We voted to explore the option. That was how we ended last meeting. So I think we're still exploring. We created the map, and we then, if you guys look at the map and see this is what you wanted to go, we can then discuss the setback, but Attorney Kaufman is correct.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
And that's what I was kind of indicating was we talked about the manufacturing and the industrial, and I was wondering if in a little bit of salt and pepper of the new things and developments that we're receiving, just because we've done work in the past, but we receive new information, I think it's important to take it all into consideration. And if we have to back the bus up, then we have to back the bus up. And so if in your overlay district that, maybe 1 mile is too much, but maybe if that's taken into consideration, that if an engineer would recommend it be 1 mile from STEM, why wouldn't it be 1 mile from another school? And perhaps 1 mile is too much, but 500 feet compared to 5,280 feet from a professional opinion, I'm not the professional. I would lean more towards the professional.
Okay.
So I'm not too much in favor of an overlay district would be for the ag, from a conversation that we've had in the past of why diminish farmland for these types of industrial uses.
Why don't we put it to a vote on who's for or against even looking at an overlay?
Well, we talked about the overlay in this one specific area, I think, because it couldn't use up that much of that usable farmland, but it made it maybe more appealing to the developer. I think that's where we came up with the overlay for this area. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I would support the idea of resolving this, whether we want to include an overlay district or not. Let's have a motion on that.
Well, 1 second, I just want to make sure everyone understands what I think Kyle was saying. If you take these two maps and lay them together, all you need to see is a mile from the SELA, number 7, is basically 28th Street.
I think that mile is negotiable. I think
Oh,
that-
sure,
that-
that's
I think
fine. I'm just looking at this, so there's plenty of area in this proposed overlay if you take out 28th Street West, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And
Yeah,
there-
mile is
There's a
whatever you
lot of
decide.
room between 500 feet and 5,000 feet. I think we can arrive at a compromise.
I will point out that on the overlay map that Kyle created, that largest circle is 1,000-foot buffer. So we have the mile, 1,000 feet, 750, and 500 feet.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah. Yes.
I was just indicating, I think all of that, taking that into consideration would be, and if you do look at the map, it seems to be for land. If there were to be an appropriate overlay, I would say that would be the area. I don't have any ideas of a better overlay area.
I don't either. I don't see anything. Any other comments? Jerry? Sandy?
No.
James?
No.
Joe?
No.
Greg?
No.
Bob? Who owns the land? That's the whole thing. Who owns the land?
I don't think who owns the land is our problem.
Yeah, why is that an issue?
That's the developer's
Because if
problem.
somebody doesn't want to give up their land for something, it is an issue.
That's not our problem, though, it's the developers. It's their issue to find the land. We don't write these ordinances for developers, we write them for
Our community.
our community.
Right. Health and safety.
Any other comments? So do we want to move on with the best overlay or as part of our discussion, or have we?
I would like us to resolve that we will pursue creating an overlay district to accommodate a BES.
Okay. Then I guess I would ask for a motion.
That was a motion.
That was your motion? Okay,
Is there support?
Support.
okay. Let's do a roll call.
I can do it for you, Kreitzer. I have it all written down here anyway.
Can we have the attorney explain what yay and what
Oh, sorry.
nay is? Thanks.
On the job. The motion was, we would like to pursue an overlay district for battery energy storage projects. If you vote yes, it is you are in support of developing an overlay, and we don't know what the parameters of that is yet, but pursuing the overlay. And if you vote no, you are opposed to any overlay district.
Okay. Commissioner Sherwood,
No.
Commissioner Nowak,
Yes.
Commissioner Weintraub,
Yes.
Chair Nichols,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreitzer,
No?
Treasurer Bloomfield,
Yes,
Trustee Amos,
Yes.
Supervisor Martin.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes, 5 yeas, 3 nays.
Okay, so
Now we have to
ahead,
fill
Joe.
in the details of the district, right?
yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So essentially, we have 3 districts, right? Would you read those to us?
It would be light manufacturing, and then we will have a zoning overlay on the southern region of the township.
And that's for the whole part of that, not whether it's ag residential? or
Correct. It's a
just an
blanket.
overlay? Okay,
Yes.
thank you for explaining.
Okay. So we need to talk about setbacks. How much is setback are we looking for? Do we want to use the suggestion that Supervisor Martin gave us, or something else?
I think there's 2 setbacks here as well. One for the zoning overlay, and then the second will be for sensitive areas. So this one.
Yes. Let's start with the overlay and go from there. Ben?
I would say for the overlay, I know that it's likely hard to identify what it's next to. If it's next to this is a question, I don't have the answer, but is a setback from a school bigger than it is from a residential property?
I would think they would be the same.
The same?
Well,
I
would hope they would be different. I mean, there's a standard setback for everything except exceptional structures, and exceptional structures would require an additional setback. So from a residence or a normal occupancy, it would be our 300 feet or 500 feet or whatever we decide is appropriate. But from a school or a hospital or something we consider as an exceptional site, we would want an additional setback.
And would it be beneficial for us to identify what we would, as a board then, because this list that I gave, there was quite a bit.
Yeah, we definitely need to identify those.
What are those things that we, we're gonna be more stringent to schools and daycares, we're gonna be a little less stringent to someone's home
Well, I think we need to look at the facilities that we're
in that overlay?
evacuating is almost impossible. And that would be your schools, to get them out in time would be really difficult.
So it'd be helpful to identify in that overlay of where we've identified what's there.
Yeah.
And so roughly if that overlay taps into number 7 on the map, which is a school, we would want to identify a setback from that.
That needs a larger setback.
We're kind of mixing things here. I think the first thing you talk about is in the overlay district. So remember, what we have right now is anywhere in the ag, and we said 500 feet, right? So now this overlay means this is the only place in the township, these, except for like manufacturing, they can go. So the first thing is talk about what would be the setback for everything in the overlay district, and then we'll come on and there could be an additional setback for sensitive land uses, okay? So
Yeah.
first of all, we're taking all of the ag area and we're compressing it down to a smaller area. So within that area, overlay we'll call it, what would the setbacks be for a battery energy storage, just in the general case, okay? And we had 500, right now we have 500, I don't know if you want more than that, I don't know if you feel if that's adequate, but then, after you figure that out, we're gonna go to the next step, which says if you have the sensitive areas, and we'll list them, schools, daycares, nursing homes, whatever we decide, whatever in that list supervisor brought up, more or less, whatever, there's gonna be an additional requirement. Wherever you're located, even if you're in the light manufacturing district and you're within so many feet of a nursing home, you're gonna have an extra requirement at that point. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would suggest we start with 500 feet as the basic setback, because that's what we had in the ordinance before.
Okay. Any other?
I might take it a little bit further, maybe 1,000, 1,500 feet. I think a mile is excessive. I'm not an expert. I'd like to know why he chose a mile. Where's the data to back up his mile? But I think a mile, man, that's
excessive.
That's a long ways.
It's excessive.
Yeah.
I think where that came from was the wind, based on the average wind speed here in the area. From what I sat through with the school board meeting, there was someone who did stand up and talk about that, about how fast the wind would carry the toxins.
And that's a moving variable, I think.
Correct.
I would like to add something in thought of this conversation, is that a developer still has the option right now, if they really wanted to have a battery energy storage in Comstock Township today, they could go to the state. That option is still on the table, and they could get 300 feet if they wanted, but they would have to go through that process. And if the Eagle grant money is gone, a thought is, if the next round's not guaranteed, and we have our own ordinance, but if you look at a lot of communities, they have workable ordinances, because then they can apply for the grants. But if there's no grant to apply for, I just think that's a
I
conversation.
don't think there is right now.
There's no money.
Yeah.
So, if we think our setback, would you rather have a setback that's not far enough and wish you would have done otherwise, or had far enough one way? So I would be likely, sometimes they say split the baby. I still think 2,500 or 2,700, I think that's pretty far. So I'd be somewhere 1,500 to 2,000 feet, I think would be negotiating.
Yes, I think that's much better. Yeah. Yeah, and that's for the exceptional conditions, and then we need to list those, and I appreciate your list, but I think I'm afraid your list of sensitive areas might be so extensive that if we were to put dots on the map where every one of these things exists, we might find out that there's no place left. So I would, we know schools and other special occupancies definitely need to be protected, but not every residence, and, I don't know. I don't know where to draw the line. That's going to have to be negotiated, obviously, but if we make this list too broad and we say, a half a mile, we could wind up in a situation again where we've excluded everything, and we don't want to do that.
Any other comments?
So our standard non-sensitive, so if we stayed on that topic for it would just be a standard overlay. Greg, were you indicating that you're thinking 1,500 feet for something standard?
Sure. I could be 1,500 to 2,000. I could be 1,500 to 2,000 feet. I think the 5,280 is just,
Yep, and would that be for, say for example, there wasn't a school there, it was just a standard setback?
Just a standard, yes. Just nothing important around it.
So ours is 500 now.
Yeah.
Would be triple.
Yeah, it'd be triple. And then we can add, for sensitive areas, we can add another layer to that, as Catherine was saying.
I'm in support of 1,500.
All right.
Want to put it to a vote?
Sure.
All right.
Was that a motion?
Or we can keep some dialogue going. I think
This is good dialogue.
yeah.
This is the standard setback in the overlay zone
Yes.
that we're talking
Yep.
about.
Yes.
I think 500 from the standard, I think that's pretty weak.
That's weak. That is definitely weak. Yep.
Well, I say we start with the 1,500 and move on to the next overlay.
Yeah, the next layer.
Yeah, the next layer, and not vote till we know where we're going to be with both of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think
Okay.
1,500 is too steep.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, we'll know that after we work on the next one. We can adjust it, but I'm not saying stick with it. I'm just saying let's move forward and then we can go back.
Mr.
Are you
Chair,
good with that?
Yeah.
I would like us to all keep in consideration if that 300 feet is on the table. There's an option for a 300-foot setback. Go to the MPSC if you want 300-foot setbacks and apply. And then so ours are just to keep into consideration, that 300 is always on the table.
And the 15 could push us over.
Good.
Well, you take 1,500 feet, that's 5 football fields. You think about how long 5 football fields are?
On each side.
That's a distance, so.
Is there any data of best locations anywhere in any state that are operating with setbacks?
Do you know of any, Catherine, that are operating right now?
Oh, there's lots of them operating in conjunction with solar fields, okay? So,
Oh, yes.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what the setbacks are. I hesitate to say 1,500 is large. I don't have enough information to tell you exactly. And I think we're meeting next week with the company. They can probably give us some more detail, and then maybe whether we have to get another person, maybe we have to ask. I know the University of Michigan has a lot of data. The Graham Sustainability Institute came and spoke to your committee. They have a lot of data. Maybe Ian from Eagle might have some data about other setbacks on BESS in the state of Michigan. It's generally considered, it's not going to take as much land as a solar project, but because of the concentrated energy, it generally be on a much smaller site. So if you start talking about 1,500-foot setbacks, and I asked Casey to put this up here, you can see the scale on this. You can see what 1,000 is, all right? It's half of the 2,000. If you just take that and you kind of roughly run it around the edges of that overlay, you're going to see what 1,000 will cut into that. And you can, start to understand the impact on that, on the overlay district. But again, the point being is what you want to do is understand, what do we feel is safe? But we want to have a workable ordinance where there would be some place somebody could develop. And so start to take that 1,000, and I'd like Casey to get up there with a big black marker and just write it on the screen and, help us understand how much it will cut into that. But we can try and get some information, Casey or Kyle can, from the University of Michigan, because I know they gathered data on that, the grant, who came down. I think Dr. Sarah Mills came down, did she? Yeah, Dr. Mills, and/or somebody else from Eagle, Ian O'Leary from Eagle, may have some of that info.
Council, and these projects would be exempt from local building permits, correct?
That is the argument. I was on a panel discussion earlier this week where the industry, which they have an industry group called EIBIC, they absolutely feel that case that's pending, the Mustang Mile case in the Court of Appeals, they feel they will win it. They feel they do not need building permits. They explained why under the language of the state construction code, they feel they're don't have exempt from getting building permits. Remains to be seen, because then our question is, as a municipality, well, how do we know that you installed this battery energy storage thing correctly, safely? How do you know that there's thousands of acres of solar panels, that they're correct? I mean, so we will just have to wait to see. I mean, I don't know the answer to that right now.
I think in our conversation of setbacks, that's something to take into consideration.
I think the size of the facility too is going to change, because Western Michigan University has their own battery thing. They're right next to their building, right next to their own substation. So, if they don't have 400 megawatts for sure, but they have them located right there on their property where their office buildings and stuff are, so.
Mr. Chair?
Yes. So would that be a conversation that we would want to have? Do we want to have standard setbacks, or is setbacks correlated with megawatts and feet for a formula as a project grows?
I think we should take into consideration the bigger the project, the bigger the setback.
But man.
But I don't know how you do that.
So my formula was 13.2, which was a mile, which most of us are in agreement that might be a little steep. So you could work down from there, and then there is the part. Casey, could you or Kyle help address and clarify that the part of the less than 50 megawatts, that's the 25 foot, is that 25 foot standard language that's in there?
You'd run out of space either way.
For our current ordinance. And that would and I'm asking was that directed in that ordinance for, like, if a business wanted to put in their own?
I think that was a homeowner that wants to put a battery in their backyard, has to be 25 feet from the line.
Yeah.
I think it would.
Less than 50 is still a
That's what they're gonna
significant
build.
project. It isn't going to be somebody's
I walked
backyard.
through that
Yeah.
Right.
Battery
a few
storage,
days
right?
ago.
So as we're working
But
through
I mean,
this,
it started, the 25 came from
And it's
somebody's backyard,
3,000 acres of
wasn't it?
panels.
Well,
Yeah, I don't
we
exactly-
only have,
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
Small scale.
I would think it would be good for us to take into consideration as we're working on this, a large-scale utility project,
25 feet.
Yeah.
then potentially a homeowner that wants to have their own Tesla pack or something, which could be what that 25 foot that they're looking into now, but then also a business that wanted to have their own.
Supervisor Martin, I'm not seeing anywhere in our ordinance that says 25 feet per megawatt.
I don't think we have one.
That was
No.
something that
Oh,
Amber
yeah,
brought up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was something Amber brought
Yeah,
up.
we don't have that in our ordinance.
What was not the per, but 25 feet, was that for something, for a setback of less than 50 megawatts?
I don't think we have anything
I'm
in
not
there.
seeing that trigger in here at all. I can go.
There's something in this ordinance about home,
We have our small scale,
yeah, small scale.
50 megawatts, but I can
Is
see.
permitted even in residential zones and stuff. It's in here somewhere. I know, I've seen that.
Well, it's enough.
Yeah, it's on page 43 of our packet.
It's 12, there you go. Thank you.
25 feet from the property line.
The last sentence.
ordinance.
Perfect. Thanks.
Number 5, there above in section 1, setbacks. So all banners that the related structure are not physically attached to a building, setback requirements applicable in the zoning business zone. Anyway, 25 feet from the property line. But that's for small scale, on-site.
Residential.
Right, yeah. And they're not covered by this
And
ordinance at
that's
all.
that's where the 25 feet came from.
Small scale residential for your car or
Yeah.
Right.
your battery pack for your house.
So the question at hand
You
is,
want a battery pack.
is there a standard setback, or are we gonna correlate megawatts to feet to this, like a sliding scale if the project grows? How would you guys think about that? Jerry? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. To set it somehow with how much power is there.
Sandy?
It makes sense.
To me, it doesn't make sense because if we put in a distance or whatever, they're just gonna go to the state and override what we put in. So I can't see it. Thank you.
I think we need some kind of sliding scale, because the battery storage that they're putting in, somebody said it was close to being like Palisades or something as far as energy.
Half of power.
Half of Palisades. That's a lot of energy.
I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I'm not sure it's appropriate. If you look at the development plans for this project on East Main, they start out one side and they have ground set aside for additional phases. If you size the setbacks to the first phase, you can't change those setbacks when you expand the energy capacity. So I guess you could adjust the setbacks to the megawatts, but you know, again, the fact, I mean, I grant you 400 megawatts is a huge amount of power and energy and stored in one place, and that is certainly part of the problem with this whole proposal. But these things are individual mounds that are built in the earth, and you know, going from 200 megawatts to 400 megawatts just means they space more of these things out. I'm not sure where setbacks necessary. I mean, we want setbacks big enough to contain this thing in the case of some sort of emergency. And, you know, I don't know. I guess if it works out, we can't be setting mile setbacks or even half-mile setbacks. We will make the project unworkable and will force people to go to the state. And that's what we want to try to avoid, right? Finding that sweet spot between maximum control and not losing control, so.
I'm going to lead towards no sliding scale. I think these people need to build these operations large enough to make it profitable. So they're not, I do not believe they'll do small builds.
I think the sliding scale, you're gonna run out of land before you could get one built, because the pieces of property are not that big. We're still only working with 36 square acres in this community. You have a sliding scale, and they want to do a project, your setbacks are gonna be so much, they're gonna need either mega acres of land, or they're not gonna have enough room to build it.
Well, something I hadn't thought about is, in the project that we're looking at, they could actually keep adding to that until it was pretty close to, you know, a lot closer to the school than we want it.
They could.
Yeah.
You know, as they add more over the years.
But they can't go past that minimum distance, no matter where they put them on that property. I mean, if they're at 1,000 feet now and that was the max, they could not put another battery closer than 1,000 feet wherever they put it on that property.
Yeah. Any other comments?
There it is.
1,760 is a third of a mile, for point of reference. If we want to start scaling, you know, take a professional recommendation and start scaling back.
Mr. Chair, I think we have to remember, I know the recommendation from the engineer was a mile to a school. I don't know if it's a mile to everything, okay? So I think we have to keep in mind what that was. And if we need some other engineer's recommendation or something, we can do that. But when we start talking about sliding scale and stuff, we have to have a reason. There has to be a rational basis why. And I understand we got this report from the school. But I think we really have to understand that, because it could be, it could be challenged, but of course, then they can just go to the state as well, so.
And would part of the rationale be contained energy?
Well, I think from what I heard the report, or the letter that was read by the superintendent of schools is, this is one of the best designed, best projects I've ever seen. But because of its proximity to the school, I do not feel it's appropriate to be, unless it's at least a mile from the school. It didn't say it couldn't be a mile from other, less than a mile from other things.
Right.
So I don't want to, conflate those two things together. I'm not sure we can do that. But I don't know enough to tell you yes or no. So I just want to make that clear. If we do adopt a regulation, we have to have a rational basis or a reasonable basis for why we're doing it. So we might have to get another engineer if that's what you want to really get into.
So standard starting point, what was your first number, Greg, there?
1,000, 1,500 feet.
1,500 feet. If we,
Yeah, 1,500 feet.
I make a motion for the overlay district for setbacks of 1,500 feet.
Support.
Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Okay. Let me explain it first. Okay.
Okay.
If you vote, the motion is to have setbacks in the overlay district of 1,500 feet. So if you vote yes, it would be that I support the setback in the overlay district being 1,500 feet. If you vote no, it's I do not support 1,500 foot for the setback in the overlay district.
And that's for the entire overlay, that's not for sensitive areas?
Yeah, that's not the sensitive areas, it's just
That's
all.
the first layer.
Yes.
The first layer, right.
And in that overlay was looked at because those could be larger parcels.
Right. They would take that much away from each side.
Roll call. Commissioner Sherwood,
No.
Commissioner Nowak,
Yes.
Commissioner Weintraub,
No.
Chair Nichols,
No.
Commissioner Kreitzer,
No.
Treasurer Bloomfield,
Yes.
Treasurer Amos,
Yes.
Supervisor Martin.
Yes.
That's a hard subject.
Yes, motion failed. Wait,
Did I count somebody, how many people we have up there? One.
We got 8.
It tied,
one,
Right.
2, 3.
That
Yes, it did tie, thank you.
so that means.
Now we
no
got an arm
pass.
wrestle.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it was a tie vote. So that means it's not, the motion does not pass, it didn't
It's
pass.
dead.
So then if you want to make a motion on a different number, you could go ahead on that, or whatever, however you want to proceed.
I'll make a motion of 1,000 feet.
I'll support that.
Okay.
That's twice what our ordinance is right now.
Casey is writing, I am writing.
Okay.
Okay, so now there's a motion with a second to have 1,000 foot setback in the overlay district. If you vote yes, it's yes to 1,000 foot setback in the overlay district. If you vote no, it's no to 1,000 foot setback in the overlay district.
Commissioner Sherwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Nowak,
Yes.
Commissioner Weintraub,
No.
Chair Nichols,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreitzer,
Yes.
Treasurer Bloomfield,
No.
Trustee Amos,
No.
Supervisor Martin.
No.
What'd we do? Did we?
It
tied.
passed. Oh, it tied again.
Really?
We're negotiating up here.
Okay, so I don't know if that means we need to go up or down based on where those numbers
Throw out
are.
a motion, Sandy.
I'll throw out a motion to do, let's see, we started at what, 15? Let's,
Yeah,
we started at 15. Let's go to 12.5, see if that one passes.
Support.
That's a motion. There we go.
Okay, she's still writing, hold on. So this motion is to set the setback, if you vote yes, the setback would be 1,250 feet in the overlay district. If you vote no, it is, you are against the setback of 1,250 feet in the overlay district.
Too big, I know.
Okay, Commissioner Sherwood?
Nope.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes.
Commissioner Weintraub?
No.
Chair Nichols?
No,
Commissioner Kreitzer?
No,
Treasurer Bloomfield?
Yes,
Trustee Amos?
Yes.
Supervisor Martin?
Yes.
Got another tie, 4-4.
okay, I say we have some discussion so we get this done. Where are you guys
Let's go
thinking?
around and do a round table, what each of us thinks is acceptable. Start with
Well, the original ordinance is 500 feet, so I've been with 500 feet from day one. So I think that's acceptable. The state's 300. If they go to the state, I think 500 is, I still think is the golden number.
correct?
I can go, I'm gonna go 1,000 feet.
I'm happy with 500. I would go to 750.
Jim?
I would be happy to go with 500.
Sandy?
500's way too low. You know what I love about us? We can really talk about things up here. This is good dialogue. I'm proud of all you boys, and I'm the only woman up here tonight. I'd like to see 1,000 at least, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Jerry? I tried that, didn't work.
Well, I thought the 1,200 was a reasonable number, but any number over 1,000, I guess, would satisfy me.
Okay. Ben?
For sake of working together, I'm hesitant to say that I agree to 1,000. But considering that the overlay is an exception in and of itself,
Yeah.
I'm willing to agree to 1,000. That's less than 1,500, so.
Personally, I'm 750 to 1,000.
So I will make a motion to go with 1,000 overlay setback.
Support.
All right, now, we just did, okay, we're back again.
Yeah, we're back to
Okay,
1,000.
yes,
Trying again.
a yes vote would be 1,000-foot setbacks in the overlay district. A no vote would be no, not 1,000-foot setbacks.
Remember, this is the first layer.
Correct.
There could be, around a school or around a nursing home or something else.
Schools
There
can
would
be half a mile.
more.
Commissioner Sherwood?
No.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes.
Commissioner Weintraub?
Yes.
Chair Nichols?
Yes.
Commissioner Kreitzer?
No,
Treasurer Bloomfield?
Yes.
Trustee Amos?
Yes.
Supervisor Martin?
Yes.
Motion passes. 1, 2, 3,
job, guys.
4, 5, 6. 6 yeas, 2 nays.
Because we need to negotiate some more.
Just look at me.
So now would you guys recommend that we address the setbacks all sensitive?
I
guess
recommend
I
you
just
figure
need to
out what is a
smile more.
sensitive land use. Let's list what those are, okay, so we all agree. And then we'll go to the setbacks for the sensitive land uses.
And I will share, we're at the 15-minute mark for this meeting.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay, so a sensitive site, we would say is a school, likely a daycare, would a daycare, what would, I guess,
What does the state consider a daycare?
Yeah, you gotta be
Well,
careful
the
about
state, in Public Act 233, there is no additional setbacks to sensitive, or schools or anything like that. So there's nothing like that in the state law, okay? So you need to figure out here, if you think there are certain land uses that need extra protection, and, list them out and let's go from there.
There are certainly ordinances written that do make exceptions for specific, you can't have a liquor store
Well,
next to a school, right?
School or a church, well, they think they took the churches out, yeah. Yes, it's true.
So we just need to make a list of what we consider to be those facilities, and then we can set an exceptional
Yes, what do you think
setback.
are sensitive land uses, you know, that you think would need extra protection? And I think the schools, you know, for what it's worth, my own opinion only, I think the schools report about evacuation concerns,
Right.
you know, of populations that need additional assistance. I mean, that's one thing to think about. I don't know what else you might want to consider as important.
Would we all want to agree that a school, maybe kindergarten through 12?
I think any educational facility that's licensed by the state.
No, I don't think colleges, kids that age are,
Right. College
they're
is different.
adults. We're talking about little kids that,
Yeah.
So K through 12?
I would think so.
Okay.
So,
Do you want to do any childhood learning centers up through K through 12?
Preschools.
Preschools, I mean, there are other items like that.
I think on those, I think we need a number of children to start with. If they've only got 2 kids, whoever's taking care of them can grab them and go.
As a reminder, you're on your packet of page 56, if Casey doesn't mind rolling to that. We did map out what we could find from sensitive areas based on our last conversation, and that was only the one near the road commission building. So that's why we designed the overlay as presented, is to help, you know, keep it more into that ag area. So that large blue circle was one of the sensitive areas that you as a group committed to last time.
Okay, so I wondered what the blue
The
circles were.
blue circle is a sensitive area that you guys alluded to last time.
and
So
that's
that
number
shows-
7 on the other map, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that shows that the largest extent of that blue circle is 1,000 feet.
Okay.
Now, if we start talking about daycares, are you looking at daycares of 1 to 6 or 7 through 12? Daycares 1 through 6 are permitted by right through the state act in a home. Doesn't mean we know where all those are as
Right.
well.
And
That's why I asked the question.
I don't know that we can control that part. I mean, they could be anywhere.
No, but all he's saying is, when you say you want a daycare as a sensitive land use, are you talking about the commercial daycare centers only, or a daycare at a church, not in someone's home? Not a home daycare that's 1 through 6 kids, or do you think that needs?
No.
I think we're looking at more commercial.
I don't want to devalue life or give certain people different advantages, but I think the smaller facilities are definitely easier to grab and go.
Yeah, I think so.
This is about evacuation.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
So would we be leaning more towards commercial?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm looking at your
List.
proposed list here.
That was just ideas, not
I
proposed.
understand. The 2 that I would focus on is B, which is educational resources, and E, which includes hospitals. Those are the 2 that stand out in my
Or
mind.
assisted living.
Yeah, well,
D
again,
also.
we need to be careful how broad we paint that brush, because we're creating dots on that map, and if you draw a half-a-mile circle around each of those dots, again, you're going to wind up
What's on 30?
restricting the possibilities. So we should focus on the major ones that we need to be careful of here.
Mr. Chair, what's the business on 35th Street on the hill? The nursing home? What's that? Yeah,
Laurel,
what's it?
Gale.
Laurel's.
Yeah.
Would we identify a site like that? It's commercial, it's big,
Yeah, it'd be very hard to evacuate.
so that's similar to it's not a hospital, but maybe, so we're at schools, commercial daycares, hospitals, and that's a nursing home, the Laurel's, correct?
Yes,
Would we be in agreement of a nursing home?
I think so.
I don't think they're going anywhere fast.
No.
Right.
I mean, I think the parks and the playgrounds, I mean, those don't need to be sensitive areas. I mean, who knows the occupancy at the time of a proposed disaster?
Well,
I mean-
if it's a storm or something, they're gonna be gone in.
Yeah, I mean, these are definitely important places to the community.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're sensitive areas. And again, that's my personal opinion.
I think what
I'll remember next time.
you're really looking at here is the time it takes to evacuate.
Yes.
That's really what you're looking at.
Yes, right,
Yes.
right. And you can't
And
do that
some
to a school.
facilities-
You
Right.
can't do it.
And, well, you can't do it to a nursing home.
No,
I guess not.
So what do we have so far over there?
Schools, some say K through 12, some say all educational facilities, commercial daycares, hospitals, and we're discussing nursing homes.
okay.
I think nursing homes need to be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
there was a-
education, just the K through 12, but that's my opinion. We can put it to a vote.
The part you mentioned about some say, how can we clarify that one to what is that one that you mentioned, some say?
I don't
You
know.
said some say.
Oh, sometimes you guys say K through 12, or some of you guys?
Oh, yes, some of you said schools just K through 12, and some said more broadly, educational resources. So if there was a community college, if there was a hair, cosmetology school or something. So how do you want to define schools, is what I guess I'm saying.
For me, as schools, if you have to, this is thinking for evacuation, a cosmetology school, those people come in their cars individually, but like a school, anything to do with the bus where they're relying on other transportation.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd
And
settle
that's
for
K through 12.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we have
K through
any
12.
private schools anywhere in this township? Anything private school?
I think we do, but I don't know where they are.
Well, private schools.
Okay.
K through 12.
Dr. Tanis, I don't believe we do. Yeah, we
No.
don't, not in this
Okay,
township, we
all right.
don't, but that doesn't mean there won't be some, so.
And
Well,
K through 12, are we missing pre-K? Would we?
Well, we did talk about commercial daycare, but if you want to talk about, I know the community center has whatever the
Learning
childcare
center?
facility is called. So,
We need to lump that in there somewhere. If we put that at the beginning of would that be pre-K through 12? Would that be a total encompassing of,
pre-K through 12.
would everybody be in support of that?
Yes.
Okay.
And nursing home is, I'm sorry, Kyle, I stopped him from talking. He said, go ahead. Assisted living, like at the community center, the adult daycare, that's a day facility. Do you want, and with dementia people, I've been through the tornado drills with my mother in the nursing home with dementia. That is, you can't, those people get really afraid. It's very difficult to do anything with them. Do you want to include like a day facility for adult care or something like that? I don't know.
I would be in support of that.
I don't think there's a lot of residents in that, and usually they have transportation there, so that's a toss-up for me.
Might take longer to get 6 on.
Unfortunately, I don't think we can include everything, every possible scenario.
I understand.
Mr. Chair, if you'll indulge me for a minute. So we're talking about the overlay district here. And if this gets passed and we go through the rezoning process, we go through the notification, these would be uses within that overlay that they'd have to be so far away from. Now, given the past 7-8 months we've been working on this, I don't find it likely, though there is a possibility that if anyone wanted to petition to modify the overlay zone, they would have to go through a rezoning process. Based on all your conversations so far the past 6-7 months, I'm not seeing that likely, not saying it's not possible, but again, so then I want to draw your attention to really you're focusing in on the overlay for your sensitive uses. We drew that overlay because there's not a lot of sensitive uses out there in that regard. So I'm not discrediting putting educational resources on here, daycares, all that, but I'm also advising you to the extent that there's not a lot of that in the overlay, which is why it's drawn the way it is. So again, the overlay could be expanded at one point, but unlikely.
Mr. Chair?
Casey and I, we thought the sensitive setback would be from anywhere there's a
Same
battery
here.
storage.
Anywhere.
So if they're in light manufacturing, if they're in manufacturing, this is also, that's what we thought.
Yep.
So, sorry. we're not-
Mr. Chair, so I think we covered the overlay setback. Sure. We covered the overlay setback, and then our conversation was just for a list for us when we do get to the sensitive setback.
Yes.
We needed to identify what a sensitive setback was. I think we've done that.
Yes,
I
we
think we
have.
should move on to a number now. And that sensitive would be in any of the zones, whether it be manufacturing, industrial,
What do you mean by number?
a setback number.
Oh, okay. For the-
And so if we were at 1,000 and we had the 5280 on there, and that we say is way too much, and our standard's at 1,000 and an overlay, would we want to go around the table and say for these sensitive ones, would we want to double it or something? So that would perhaps be my proposal and my idea to share before any motions on the table, is that if it's sensitive, it would just be doubled. It would still be half, less than half of what a professional opinion put on the table.
Okay. Bob?
I don't know.
500 feet.
Yeah, I'm thinking, so, you know, I mean, the state's still 300 no matter what, where, anything. So I don't see going to 2,000 feet. I really don't, you know, I'm good with a quarter mile.
37%.
For anything or anywhere, straight across the board.
What footage is a quarter mile?
1,200, what is it, 12?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So 2,000 would be 37% of a mile.
Greg?
Another 1,000 feet.
Okay. Joe?
2,000 feet or a half a mile. I'd live with either one.
James?
I could live with 2,000 square feet.
Sandy?
My phone's talking to me. I would say half of what the engineer recommended from the school, which is just over 2,000 feet, so,
2640.
yeah, 2,640. So 2,500 square feet.
Jerry?
Yeah, I believe 2,000 would be a good number.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Weinentraub mentioned half mile. I'm leaning more towards that, 2,500 feet.
Okay.
Make a motion.
I make a motion for the sensitive receptor sites that we've identified for 2,500 feet.
Support.
Okay. Roll call.
Okay.
One second. All right. James has got us trained. All right. If you vote yes, it's voting yes for a 2,500-foot setback for the sensitive land uses. And if you vote no, it's against 2,500-foot setback for the sensitive land uses.
Okay. Commissioner Sherwood,
No.
Commissioner Nowak,
Yes.
Commissioner Weintraub,
Yes.
Chair Nichols,
No.
Commissioner Kreitzer,
No.
Treasurer Bloomfield,
Yes.
Trustee Amos,
Yes.
Supervisor Martin.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Motion passes 5 yeas, 3 nays. Okay, I'll have to stop the party here so we can get to citizen comment. If that's-
Got a lot done.
Yes, if that's all right.
Thanks, guys.
We're all still talking to each other.
Still smart.
Can we quickly talk about what need be done next? What part are we missing?
do that for the update.
Okay,
Want that now?
We still have time.
whatever you guys prefer.
Okay, so the last thing that we are missing, we have our sensitive uses setback, our overlay setback. We have a list of sensitive areas as well. Is that finalized?
I assume we're going to take the actual boundaries of the overlay district and have Kyle change them to reflect the setback you just picked from that school, right? That SELA school.
I see.
Yeah, would you put a different color for the
So
setbacks?
he can take that map and revise it, so that would come back to your next meeting. You would be able to look at that, because if you're okay with that, then that means we're creating this overlay zoning component to this ordinance, and we're gonna rezone those properties. Their underlying zoning will still be ag or whatever it is, but there'll be an overlay on top of it, which will be called like battery energy storage, BESS overlay. So we have to look at that map one more time so everyone knows what it is and you can make a recommendation on it, okay?
I will
Thank you.
also say that while we tackled this, the setback for occupied community dwellings, we did not touch on public road right-of-way or property line. So, as you can see on the screen here, so I don't know if that was to be,
So what she's saying is in our ordinance now, there was a setback to the buildings of like 500 feet, but to the roads, it was like 50 feet, or to 100, excuse me. And then to a property line, it was 50. So we might have to talk about that next time too, because all we, theoretically, or maybe you're going to say they're all the same, I don't know. But what we were thinking, this was probably to the buildings. But we might need to talk about that more at the next meeting. I'm not trying to delay this at all, but I think we accomplished a lot today.
There's one other thing I'd like to accomplish today, and that's about the noise. In our original ordinance, it was an average, and I think we need to have a maximum.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if we can cover that because we end in 20 minutes. We have public comments still. So I don't know if we can, do we have
Maybe we're just compiling a to-do list for next time, so hopefully next time we could get through this.
Yeah,
So we
because-
need to talk about noise.
As Dr. Hathaway said, the noise can be astronomical at 1 minute and then nothing the next.
So we're at noise, we're at setback from the right-of-way and property
And
line.
the property line, and we're to look at the final draft of where the overlay might be, the district itself.
Okay.
There were a couple typos that I had
Oh.
too that I'd like to go through. Maybe I can email them to you.
That works. I also will say our next meeting is September 4th, so a week from now, but CIP is the one hosting that special meeting, so I did not anticipate any best workshop time, as that was not in the agenda. The original idea that the planning team had was ideally a public hearing for this September 25th. I don't know if we'll be ready for that, so we'll be pushing that back probably to October 9th, since we still have things to work out of.
Yes.
Okay. We can talk about that more after citizen comment, we'll see how
Thank
long
you.
it goes.
Okay. We're moving on to citizen comment. A citizen may state their name and address and may speak only one time for no more than 3 minutes. This time may not be given to another citizen to extend their time. The person speaking has the floor, and no other citizen shall speak during someone else's time. During this time, you will be making statements to the board without discussion from the board members, but you are welcome to make appointments with planning and zoning staff to discuss your comments further. Please keep comments clean and respectful. Hi.
Hi, I'm Emily, a resident of Comstock. Just some thoughts I had as far as like facilities and stuff that you guys are looking at as sensitive areas. Laurels of Galesburg is a nursing home, which is like long-term, but as well as a rehab facility. So it's supposed to be short-term, like post-hospital services kind of thing. So I don't know if, not including both words in whatever you guys decide, if that means that that compromises the Laurels at all or anything like that. Another thought is there are many group homes in Comstock along, like there's on Elaine and I worked for ROI for a long time and we have several step-down houses in the area for when they exit the autism program. So those are individuals with, developmental disabilities, physical disabilities. Autism, like it's hard, especially as short-staffed as they are, it's hard to ensure that we're going to be able to get anybody safe. Just getting people out of the house in itself can be an issue. And then also like assisted living, but then also group home and so what determines one from the other? And a thought is just like, is it licensed by the state? Is it an accredited agency or facility? There are just a lot of things, oversight that happens when you do assisted living, group home kind of stuff. And then my last one is I noticed on the map at ML and 28th, I believe. The McKercher Center, MRC, is there, which has a large amount of individuals with disabilities of all ranges at any given time. Also, they do not have like general transportation. A lot of the transportation there is done through Metro County Connect or Metro Share, which are not available on the drop of a hat. And then also their staff will have vehicles, but are they, licensed to drive, state funded individuals, so to speak? Or there's just a lot of stuff that comes with all of these things that's a lot bigger than just like the word nursing home or group home. So just other things to consider because it muddies the water, so to speak. But that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Tammy Keeler. I think this ought to go to the state because I just looked up all this stuff that you guys were talking about. It has to be 1,000 feet away from a roadway or anything. I just looked it up. If you guys do that, do your research. Do more research. And all you guys are thinking about is this. You're not thinking about anything else. I'm sorry, but we don't need this anywhere. There's also a trailer park over there that has children in it. And like she said, I forgot MRC was there. Some of these kids are really sensitive. My son used to go there. They're not gonna understand what's going on. Some of them are in wheelchairs. And there's not always the vans around there to get them out of there. And some of them do have breathing problems there. Just the air alone could hurt them. And then some of you just don't want it there because you're just thinking about this. Money. That's why you don't want to move it away from the school because it's what? Somebody lives right by it. They're going to get a profit out of this. And then they try to say that, oh, if they put it there, the school's going to get 10 years of revenue from this. Are going to get 10 years of funding. There was 3 people that was on there that said this. But it's this they're looking for. So just to let you guys know, I just posted it. If you'd like me to read the post, I can. This is what it states. Somewhere in Russ Kim and something about the poll from Dave Caburn, Bubba Sherwood, and Dave Betts. It's about going forward with this best plan. They posted on Rets what it's going to take to make you guys stop thinking about the money. Realize you're going to harm our children and our residents in our township. We do not want it. They are saying it will fund the schools for 10 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nate Dorlag, 8782 East Main, Galesburg, Michigan, 49053. I'm a resident of Comstock Township. I just have a concern about homes that are near the light manufacturing and manufacturing districts, zones, the setback distance between, populated areas, occupied dwellings, and those zones. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Next item is training updates. No?
No, sir.
Future action items?
Okay, so we make a game plan for the next few meetings. Again, I stated that CIP is September 4th, September 11th. We don't have special meetings scheduled. I don't know if that's quick enough turnaround to talk about CIP's remarks or how we want to go from there. If we want to have another meeting following CIP's statements that following week, next 2 weeks. A public hearing should be at the latest October 9th, because then we get really close to second reading happening by the end of December. Any ideas on how you want to navigate that?
I certainly think we have work to do to button up some stuff.
Okay.
And if we're not able to workshop at their meeting, then we would likely need to, I think we still have some unanswered questions.
Okay.
How long will CIP last?
No clue. I don't have any.
Because we could have a discussion afterwards, right? I think that would be the best action.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to move on.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can amend the agendas then, because I didn't have the workshop items on there. And I don't know if that's enough time for Kyle and I to prepare those maps, as that's a week from now, following the holiday weekend.
Would potentially we want to listen to what they have to say to possibly digest that, to maybe take it into consideration? Any other recommendations or?
Yeah, but I will just state that there will be no time to amend the maps as requested for, I believe, to do the holiday weekend. And then also I will not have time to amend the ordinance to reflect the comments we discussed tonight.
We understand.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then, okay, so then I guess public hearing October 9th to have time. I don't know, I guess I shouldn't push public hearing, but I just wanted to make sure we get it October 9th, because then we have to, public hearing, 2 readings, and then we get it adopted just before Christmas. Or I think that's the right timeline. But we're cutting it close, thank you. Okay, so anything from you, Kyle? Okay, perfect.
Thank you. All right, the public or planning commission comments. Ben?
I just wonder if we identify if in the as we talked previously, in the manufacturing industrial zones that are close proximity to homes. I know we didn't identify a home as a sensitive site, but are we gonna, this is a question, I suppose, is are we gonna we're gonna make that setback in those districts to incentivize them to go into those districts smaller, but would a home be something that per site specifically we would look at? Or is that gonna be blanket coverage, 300 feet in those?
I think that's something we have to look at.
I think so too.
I'm good.
Okay. Sandy?
I think we did really good. When our attorney sits there and says we did a lot of work, I think we did. So good job tonight, everybody.
James?
No comment this time.
Joe?
Nothing to add.
Greg?
No further comment?
Bob?
It was a good discussion tonight, and the answer to one of Ben's questions, the current ordinance is 500 feet from an occupied dwelling. So if that's something you want to, that's it.
I think we did a lot of work tonight, and I'm very happy with what we accomplished. I always want more, but I'm happy that we did as much as we did. With that, I'll adjourn.